Hi, my name is Janice Francis, and my global leadership strategy proposal is on AI governance and ethics. And this will focus on AI governance and ethics and how important it is with shaping the world as AI is rapidly advancing. What is AI? Everyone knows what AI is or should know what AI is at this point, also known as artificial intelligence. And basically, they're just machines or computers mimicking human intelligence, and it impacts all types of industries. Specifically, we see the impact already in healthcare, education, and legal industries. And with the rapid advancement of AI, we have to think about the concerns of data privacy, biases that can be created, or discrimination that's created through the algorithms with AI, within AI, and just simply lack of regulation. Everyone needs some type of regulation in order for things to run smoothly, and AI is no different. Leadership must guide AI to promote equity, security, and innovation across the board, not just in big countries or what they would consider global north, countries such as the US, who have the resources and infrastructures. We can't forget those countries that lack those resources and infrastructures, also known as the global south. Why is AI a leadership crisis? It's very simple. We have global disparity, which I just covered as far as global south lacking the infrastructure and the abilities to make the policies. Then you have the big guys, the big guns, such as the US, global north. We have the infrastructure, we have the money to make and help shape AI and the developments and so forth within it. So we have to also think about why it's a leadership crisis, because it presents several leadership challenges, which few we just covered, but like surveillance abuse, which an example of that is facial recognition software that's being used to identify people, or as recent here in the United States, where we have to have what they consider the real ID. So now you just go up to the machine at TSA, you have the real ID, they do have your image, you can stand in front of a machine that will scan your face, and boom, you're ready to board your flight. And then just a lack of ethical oversight globally. These issues demand coordinated action, not just locally, but globally, from global institutions, local organizations, and will rely heavily on groups such as the United Nations to make sure that we're regulating and governing it accordingly. Like Batul and Bono says, AI is not just a technical challenge, it's a global leadership crisis. Leadership responsibilities when it comes to AI is very simple. Effective leadership must be ethical, inclusive, and adaptive. Transformational leaders inspire and reform. Servant leaders are there to advocate for underserved groups, and adaptive leaders will adjust to the fast-changing technological landscapes. So as leaders, we have to be prepared to not just lead, but we have to lead ethically. We have to be inclusive and adaptive by creating ethical governances that is inclusive of all, which that's what transparency, accountability, and bias-free. My leadership action plan is very simple. It has 3 steps to it: create, establish, and mandate. What do I mean by that? Create international AI ethic guidelines through collaborations with international groups such as the United Nations and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Once they're created, then we need to establish international and national training programs to educate, to teach AI literacy, and also leadership in technology governance. And finally, we have to mandate. How are we going to mandate it? By creating an AI oversight committee that addresses diversity, development with representation from both our global south and global north countries. This way, it's inclusive of everyone, regardless of what their infrastructure and monetary resource situation is, which will help close wealth gaps, educational gaps, just global gaps in general that have been created over the years due to lack of resources and infrastructure in a lot of these countries. So to implement my action plan, what we're going to use is the deal model, which is going to describe what the current AI systems are, evaluate the various risks, analyze the global cooperation options, and then we're going to learn. So learning happens along the way through each step. Information and data that we collect will be used to make informed decisions that will ultimately be the framework for international ethical governance. So without international cooperation, fragmented AI regulations are unlikely to address the transnational nature of algorithms, which is what Batul's research recently published in January covered. And it's this by following this deal model, it ensures a flexible and evidence-driven strategy. Of course, we're going to experience potential challenges, but then we have ways of mitigating these risks and challenges. So some of the potential challenges will include inconsistent regulations because various countries and areas will have their own regulations or lack of. We're going to potentially have local resistance from big private sector technological companies who are currently already utilizing AI and have developed their own governance, but their governance is focused more on them and where they are versus on an international level. And then local resistance, we're going to get the pushback about the data and privacy concerns. To mitigate this, mitigation is going to involve engaging all of our stakeholders, adapting policy for local needs, and using transparency evaluation tools. And with that, we'll be able to move along effectively and get the buy-in that's necessary to adapt and utilize AI across the board. Long-term sustainability impact is very simple. It's going to result in a reduction in inequality, quality of education, work and economic growth, and justice and strong institutions because of the transparency and accountability the rules and AI governance will be providing. This strategy supports all the SDGs 4, 8, 10, and 16 by ensuring there's access to education, protecting fair labor, reducing inequality, and strengthening our institutions. So the conclusion is very simple. Ethical AI advances long-term global development. We have several ethical concerns that arise from the technological use of AI, such as in telemedicine, blockchains, the biases within the algorithms, and so forth. As leaders, we have an ethical duty to consider when it's appropriate to utilize these technologies, how to utilize it, and how to enforce it to prevent and mitigate risk. AI is both an opportunity for technological advancements, potential, but it's also potential threat if not governed accordingly. Ethical inclusion and adaptive leaders can ensure technological benefits. Technology benefits everyone and aligns with our global values. So as leaders, our job is to make sure that we are leading, and AI leadership is not something that's optional, but it is essential in order to bridge a lot of gaps that we are currently seeing globally.